Morning. I work at Bordeaux Metropole, a public establishment for cooperation that brings together 28 municipalities, including the city of Bordeaux. We act for residents in key areas of everyday life, as transport, housing, waste, water, the economy, and so on. I would like to share my experience today, this morning, with a focus on the CITS deployment site in Bordeaux, services and use cases, and some elements on assessment result. And firstly, to give some context element and key figures about mobility in Bordeaux. That's fine. The Beltway in Bordeaux metropolis is a part of the Atlantic corridor between the north and southwest of Europe. As we can see on the map top right in black, but also a part of the agglomeration mobility system. It affects indeed 40% of commuting, a figure increasing to 65% during morning rush hour. And this ring road is operated by the Atlantic, a decentralized department of the French ministry. Bordeaux Metropole operates a high traffic road network, about 190 kilometers, directly connected to the ring road. Bordeaux Metropole is indeed a urban road operator, managing about 3,000 kilometers of roads and 1,500 kilometers of cycle paths. Bordeaux region has been committed for many years to global ITS solution to manage traffic and travel flow in the city and metropolis, especially with a centralized traffic management system called Gertrude. And Bordeaux Metropole is also a public transport authority and launched tram service completed by the restructured bus network in order to form a multimodal mobility chain with a bike sharing system, a boat public service on the river Garonne too. The effects are particularly noticeable in the urban core. Despite all these efforts, the congestion continues unabated with a demographic dynamic, leading, of course, to additional mobility needs. And we pointed out that the congestion is not homogeneous across the territory, as we can see on the three maps on the bottom. Commuting distance by car travel times have been increasing since several decades, and modal share for car has decreased to 46% in the metropolis and 71% in the Gironde County, although the number of vehicles has increased. And CITS can contribute to respond with solutions that are more agile, more sober, and tailored to the specificities of the territories. Bordeaux Metropole has deployed CITS within successive European projects thanks to safe European funds and French ministry. We develop our own CITS upscaling deployment path in 3 phases to reach a production stage today. We brought together and engaged public-private stakeholders too. And with the key objective was to scale up existing infrastructure and services along 3 dimensions, services, additional users, and greater geographical coverage. The standards have defined an architecture so that cooperative services are independent of communication protocols as vehicle Wi-Fi, short range, and cellular long range, as they are implemented on board a vehicle, the Volkswagen example in June, in the roadside unit on the infrastructure side, or even in a smartphone. The last one makes it possible to integrate an older fleet of vehicles. In fact, the fleet on the road is 20 times larger than the volume of annual sales. In urban context and more generally in France, cellular was favored for large-scale deployment, with a smartphone application playing the role, in fact, of an onboard ITS station. The extended focus on urban European standardization and a zero platform has made it possible to build a French CITS technology foundation on which the Bordeaux side is now based. And Bordeaux Metropolis is now equipped with 50 roadside units. 39 are operated by the Atlantic on the ring road and deliver services in hybrid communication. As we can see on the slide, we have also 10 roadside units on the urban boulevard, which are only for test services with short-range communication, but they are not already in operation. In addition, we have deployed signals intersection services as GLOSA, Green Light Optimal Speed Advisory, to completely cover the world territory with today 661 traffic light intersection. These services are delivered with long-range communication. We have also parking and virtual message sign services and so on. So in the same way that when the local see the difference app, the French Ministry of Transport has developed a national application named Coupits. Coupits proposes an overlay mode that allows to benefit from the performance of user favorite GPS navigation, for instance, Waze, coupled with the reliability of alerts and or advice sent by the road manager. The app was developed in the Bordeaux area and then successfully tested in real life in 2021, then all over France in 2023 within the Indeed project. The application incorporates nowadays a catalog of almost 13 services and more than 100 use cases. And the Coupits application provides almost 30 active use cases all over the metropolis and supporting public policies adapted to different sectors. The first sector is the urban core. In fact, the service offered are designed to encourage eco-driving with speed advice ahead of traffic lights, request for priority for designated vehicles, and information on parking facilities. They also encourage caution around schools, information on roadworks, and so on. We began within the Indeed project. In fact, we have begun to work on improving the safety of cyclists and pedestrians, and in their cohabitation with a motorized vehicle, particularly at signalers intersection. We are working on pedestrian crossing located outside the signal intersection too, and we are working on blind people or scholar group at signal intersection. On the ring road and main roads, reporting road events to improve the safety and optimize information, including onboard journey times. In the suburb and urban area, encouraging a modal shift to mass transit via park and ride facilities and onboard the virtual message signage, information on access to carpooling areas and on dedicated lanes for carpooling, road safety, of course. And the last category about management of specific events, such as information on flooded roads. This is, in fact, some example of HMI screen. We can see the modal transfer are park and ride facility. That consists in delivering information like location, availability, additional indication of a comparative journey time by kind of transport. That means public transport versus vehicle. In order to encourage a modal shift and multimodality, we have also the HMI of block flooded roads and routing. Within the earlier stages, in fact, we selected relevant CITS services that are key enablers, in fact, to enhance traffic efficiency and emission reduction. We evaluated part of these services, and I would like to illustrate with this slide the impact with the signal intersection service, which is important in the urban sector. This service includes several use cases as GLOSA, signal size and timing information, imminent signal violation warning, traffic light prioritization, and emergency vehicle priority. And so we deployed the top 3, in fact, and that are in operation on the 600 signalers intersection through the centralized traffic management system. We have also a 53 tramline intersection with the dedicated sign. The University Gustave Eiffel conducted an impact assessment of GLOSA thanks to field operation test and delivered some recommendation based on driver responses. The analysis was based on the log data collected thanks to the smartphone app, in fact. And at first, we had some findings. So when, for instance, when driver follow at least one instruction about speed advice, up to 10% will follow instruction more than 90% of the time, but more than 15% will follow speed advice less than 10% of the time. So how CITS service can improve driver behavior and respect of speed advice? This question was investigated within a traffic micro simulation framework. We made a simulation to scale up. We used, in fact, a simulation to scale up the observation to assess KPI according to traffic efficiency. That means decrease in number of stops and pollutant emissions that are summarized in the figure on the slide. Both the performance of connected vehicle and overall traffic stream generally improves with increase in market penetration of connected vehicle. Significant impact on driver response were observed with respect to several factors, the most important of which include the activation distance, but also impact of cycle lengths and impact of available lanes in the direction of travel, in fact. Impact quicker and in stronger response are observed for activation distance between 250 meters and 100 meters. In circle purple, we can see on the figure that with long signal cycles, for a high degree of saturation, a 300-meter activation distance is too short to generate a positive impact. Even at higher penetration rate, it is recommended to provide a 500-meter activation distance in such cases. We are different parameter to analyze. And if you look at the environment efficiency, the CO2 emission reduction is in the range of 3 or 5%, which goes up to 10% at 50% penetration rate and more than 15% in fully connected environment. We tested also priority for cyclists at traffic light within the project DIT for tram, and demonstrated that the positive use of virtual push button. After that, I would like, in fact, to share with you a few key points from our innovative journey at Bordeaux Metropole and lesson learned with my colleague and peers. So why urban ITS? I can see, in fact, some of the benefits of CITS are common to both interurban and urban roads, I think. And as mentioned, Peter Maker from ASFINAG during the previous webinar, our world is increasingly digital, full of distraction. And CITS can alert us to dangerous situation. And CITS create, in fact, instant value, even with the current level of fleet of vehicle transport. More specifically, maybe, CITS service offer will have to be expanded in favor of multimodality in our urban metropolis and active alternate modes by enriching the user experience in favor of sustained mobility, and finally to enable vehicle to be integrated into a multimodal and proactive management for global mobility. I can say that combining CITS with traffic management system is a winning combination. We have to target minimum penetration rate to achieve benefits, and making deployment part of a responsible digital approach. Then to conclude, this is the main axis for the next 5 years in Bordeaux Metropolis, and we have, in fact, we are preparing, in fact, a roadmap with new use cases expected to be carrier road about bus rapid transit and priority at that intersection, incentive for low emission zone, service on high traffic road network, and information on risk. Thank you very much.